Good morning, distinguished guests, fellow keynote speakers, organizers, esteemed colleagues, scholars, and mostly our postgraduate candidates and the participants. It is an honor to join you in this international conference team Fusion Forward, Innovation in Creativity, Management, IT, and Fashion. This team, for me, it actually challenges us to think boldly about how different disciplines intersect to shape our shared future. Okay, let me move to the next slide. All right. Today, I want to open a small conversation to a room of people that I hope that, today I want to open a small conversation that I hope will stay with you long after this conference ends. I will raise three interconnected themes. The first one is the role of strategic foresight. And the second one is the centrality of human governance in leadership. And lastly, the soul as the last frontier of humanity in an AI-driven world. If you hear from the first presenter just now, she did mention about the future, she did mention about humanity and whatnot, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to intersect this tree so that in our future research, we will think more about this. Okay, let me share next slide. Let me ask this question. What will tomorrow demand of us? Anyone would like to answer the question? Yes, no? Well, if there is no answer, then I will continue. Foresight is not a prediction. We do not have tomorrow's data. We cannot file a query and retrieve the future. Instead, foresight is the disciplined exploration of possible, plausible, and preferable futures. It is the craft of imagining multiple doors and then choosing deliberately which door we intend to open. For postgraduate scholars, foresight matters in three vital ways. First of all, the research relevant in volatile world. Secondly, a university as a future lab, and lastly, scholars as foresight practitioner. Okay, let's talk about research relevant. As researcher, we have a duty that goes beyond publication and citation. We must ask, does our work anticipate societal shift, or does it merely describe yesterday's problem? Imagine asking these questions about 10 years from now. Will we wear what we are wearing today? Or is it, will we spend our time and money remains the same? Will the standard 9 to 5 ever exist? If a major conflict disrupts supply chain, can our supply adapt to the changes? If a prolonged power failure dims our city, do our communities have plans to continue? These are not fanciful thoughts experiment. These are the kind of questions that determine whether research have meaningful impact from policy rooms to rural household. Too often, we are absorbed by metrics, publication, impact factors, citation counts. These are important but not sufficient. If the output of our scholarship does not touch the life of people outside academic walls, if it does not inform how communities survive breakdowns, adapt to climate shift, or navigate ethical use of AI, then we risk producing knowledge for a world that no longer exists. So I ask you gently but firmly, are we researching yesterday's curiosity or tomorrow's necessities? Okay, just pause and think of just one piece of work you are doing now. Can you describe its effect in the life of a person who is not an academic? universities as future labs. Yeah, universities have historically been places of critics, custodianship, and care. Today, they must also become laboratories of the future. That does not mean abandoning rigorous scholarship. It means expanding our remit. We serve multiple stakeholders such as the government agencies, other universities, industry, communities, and the environment. Call them the quintuple stakeholders. Each of them need universities to be not merely reactive advisors, but proactive designers, designing policies, piloting innovation, and creating framework that help society adapt before crises become catastrophe. Imagine a university that instead of issuing a late technical report after a flood, had already modeled scenarios, tested low-cost resilience infrastructure, and trained local councils in backcasting exercises. Imagine academic labs partnering with communities group months before a planned industrial change so that transition plans are co-created rather than imposed. That is the university we want to see, not a distant archive, but an active partner in shaping desirable futures. Okay. Scholars as foresight practitioners. Finally, foresights demand new skills from scholars. Horizon scanning, scenario building, and backcasting are not exotic tools reserved for government think tanks. They are practical methodologies for research design, for dissertation, and committee-based projects. Horizon scanning helps you detect weak signals before they become crises. Scenario building trains you to inhabit different possible worlds and see the implication of a decision across contexts. Backcasting begins with a preferred future and work backwards to identify the steps that will get us there. These tools change the question we ask and therefore the answers we produce. They turn empirical work from foundation stone for resilience. They allow a PhD project to do more than demonstrate novelty, but they allow it to say, here is how a community, a firm, or a policy can withstand the shock we anticipate in the next decade. Why should these methods belong in our dissertations and classroom? Because the cost of ignorance is too high. We owe future generations scholarships that is anticipatory, actionable, and accountable. Without foresight, academics risk irrelevance, which is busy producing knowledge for a world that no longer exists. We can choose to be architects of tomorrow or archivists of yesterday. The choice is ours. Right. Now, if foresight teaches us what might be, it leaves unanswered the deeper question, which is those possible futures should we choose? That is the question of governance, but not governance as check boxes or policy document, but human governance, which I will address next. Human governance is about leadership of the self before leadership of others. It is not simply compliance with external rules, it is obedience to an inner compass. It's not just institutional integrity, it's about personal conscience. A PhD thesis is not only a test of originality, but of honesty in methods, humility in findings, and responsibility in impact. Human governance asks us to hold ourselves accountable not just for what we discover, but for why we discover it and for whom. Consider this, yeah? Universities can publish thousands of papers, but if they are written to climb rankings rather than to heal societies, what have we truly achieved? We can produce graduates with perfect resumes, but if they are trained only for employability and not for responsibility, what kind of leaders they will become? Human governance demands that we ask, are we publishing for recognition or relevance? Are we educating for jobs or for justice? Are we training leaders who can govern others, or human who can first govern themselves? This is not a romantic notion. It is a survival imperative. In time of crisis, system may fail, institution may falter, but the one safeguard we carry with us is our own moral compass. The compass must be nurtured. So I say to you, let our governance begin with the governance of our own heart. From there, the government of institution, industry, and nation will follow. And this brings us to the final, perhaps most urgent frontier, what it means to be human in an age of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence today can generate text, compose music, analyze genomes, and even stimulate human conversation. Some predict it will soon rival or surpass human intelligence, but intelligence is not wisdom, and simulation is not sincerity. So what AI lacks and what must remain uniquely ours is our soul. The soul is not a technical category. It is compassion, conscience, creativity rooted in meaning. It is the quiet voice that asks not just can we, but should we. Without the soul, knowledge risks becoming sterile and efficient, but directionless, powerful but dangerous. In a world where AI can write research paper, what will distinguish a human scholar is not only technical quality, but the moral and philosophical depth embedded within. The soul ensures that data serve dignity, that algorithms serve equity, and progress serve people. So let us be clear, our role as scholars is not to compete with machine in speed or volume. Our role is to infuse knowledge with wisdom, to ensure that research serves humanity, not just efficiency, ethics, not just economics. The last frontier is not AI itself, but whether we can preserve the humanity that makes knowledge worth pursuing. Because let me conclude with this. Foresight gives us vision, human governance gives us moral direction, the soul gives us purpose. As scholars, we are not just students, but we are stewards of knowledge and custodians of the future. Okay. In an AI-driven world, machine may have intelligence, but only you and I and all of us, the human scholars, have a soul. And it is the soul that we determine not just what future we can imagine, but what future we ought to create. Thank you. I think that's is all about my presentation today.
So, dear participants, if you are having any question, please raise your hand or write in chat box. We can take 4 questions now, but kindly respond quickly. So till the participants ask a question in chat box or raise their hands, I want to write a quote about your presentation. That research governance in the age of AI is not just about managing data or systems. It is about steering integrity, strategy, and human values. Those that tied intelligent transformation. So thank you for this wonderful, insightful reflection on research governance, strategy, and AI challenges. This reminds us that true progress lies in balancing innovation with integrity. Now let us, introduce our next presenter because there are no questions from participants. So we
There's
can
one
take.
question from Dandy Bayu Firdaus.
Yeah, I am unable to see. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Dandy, please go ahead if you are having question. Yeah, his question is how educators help students strengthen this inner compass in the midst of automation and AI influence.
Um, Okay, if I can just share my experience. So basically what I do for all my classes is basically I ask them about what are their values. Believe me, when you ask students about what are their values, they will pause and think. So before I start my class, I will always remind them this, yeah, what are our values, yeah? And I will also say this, yeah, what is legal may not be ethical, what is ethical may not be legal. So that makes them think in whatever they decide, make sure that they always think about also ethical decision. Every day, like every day in class, I will always share things that has happened in the world so that they can always reflect back, yeah, not only about themselves, but also about their family and about others. Thank you. Can we
So
have,
there is one follow-up question. How can academia ensure that technological advancement remains aligned with human values?
okay, that is a very good question. Yeah, how can academic ensure that technological advances remain aligned with human values? Sometimes I also refer back to the donut economy. So the donut economy says you use things that is basically what you can do within sustainable environment. So that is how when I design things for my classes or even for my research, I will always go back to the moral compass. Does this AI helps my society? Does it help others? Yeah, or just a few stakeholders? The question is always lie with us. We make the decision. Can we
So
even have
yes,
critical
there.
can we even have critical thinking by having access AI? Uh, can we Okay, to me, yeah, all the tools, even your ChatGPT is there to help you. But at the end of the day, you have to be the expert. So, as I say, yeah, if we are the only human who have soul, so you have that feeling, you can have that compassion, and that will relate back to your critical thinking of how to help others or how to rectify things. Yeah, that's my answer. Thank you.
So before we add to next speaker, I want to add to Simran's question. Critical thinking in academia is very important. Chat GPT and other AI tools which are coming in larger innovation base, so they can help us work smartly. But it is the human tendency who have to think critically which tool to use and how to use. At the end, knowledge matters than technology. So therefore, critical thinking is, you know, is a value-based, system in academia, which can never be replaced by ChatGPT. ChatGPT and machines, they can make errors because they are man-made, but critical thinking with logic, so that will remain there.